2, 3, 4.
Everybody has a story to tell. It can be true or a legendary work of fiction. But for me, it's not just about the story, it's about the person telling it. I like to keep stories I love, so that I can listen to them anytime I choose. I can simply open a door and there it is, presented in front of me, like flicking through the pages of a book. But what's a good story without a good teller? Well, I like to keep them too. Some like to collect stamps, coins, cards. I collect people.
It's not all about the driving, you know. It's as much about the car, the route, the timing. Timing is the most important part of what I do. I've been a getaway driver for 35 years now, and that's a long time in our business. The reason? There's two of them, really. Nerves and skill. Really is as simple as that. You choose your jobs well, choose your cars well, and you choose your routes well. You stick to those three simple guidelines, you got half a chance. The nerves and skill, well, they come with doing it. Your stock rises, and people hunt you out because you're the best. And I am the best. But there comes a time in every life when you know you're ready to bow out. You've done all you can. And you've got enough tucked away in offshore bank accounts to keep you more than comfortable for the rest of your life. But I had to go out on a high. That was always the plan. Now, I'm getting offers all the time. 3 or 4 a month in some cases. It's all about whittling them down to 3 or 4 a year. Because oversaturating the market, it's not helpful. And don't be greedy. Greed gets you caught. So, I agreed to my final job. After a lot of thought, And I mean, a lot of thought. It had to be big enough to be remembered. Yeah, I could have gone out with a simple post office job on the high street. A one-car affair, ending in a burnout on some secluded piece of wasteland. Not a chance. I would never have done. Had to have at least 2 car changes and a lot of planning. More planning than I'd ever done in my life. I mean, this was my legacy job. Anyway, they were brothers. Jeff and Brad Bradley. Bright kids. Already onto their 5th job. And only in their 20s. I liked them. I like their style. And I like their enthusiasm. And the next job wasn't just big. It was brash too. Hooton's department store. Biggest store in the city. They were having a sale from the Friday to the Sunday. A big cash collection planned for the Sunday morning. It was gonna be huge. So we did our deal. And I set to work. Hours and hours of mapping and planning. It was all set. Sunday morning, 9:15. Something new for me. Peugeot 208. That's my car of choice for city jobs. Fits right in with the surroundings. For me, it totally outdoes the Corsa, the Fiesta and the Polo for this kind of work. It's got style and a great deal of boot space. Perfect for a few CRT boxes. It's cash in transit to you. And we had a Seat Leon waiting just outside the city centre. And we changed cars in an area that was blind to the CCTV cameras. Anyway, as I sat in the car, Sunday morning, 9:10 a.m, listening to Debussy's Prelude à l'heure du après-midi d'un faune, I reflected a bit on my life and my career. Maybe, just maybe, I was still good enough to carry on. I hadn't lost any of me bite for the job, and my reflexes were still good. Nah, maybe this wasn't my last. I had that rush again. But 9:15 came and went. Still no sign of the brothers. No sign of anyone, really. Town was quiet. Very quiet. Too quiet. So, I turned off Debussy and flicked through the channels on the radio. It was then I realised it was time to get out. Time to go and spend some quality time in the sun. 2 young men killed in armed robbery. Gunned down as they tried to make their way out of the city, on foot. Jeff and Brad weren't the kind of kids who'd give themselves up. They'd go out fighting. Damn shame. And a sad loss. They were unlucky, really. I mean, who'd have thought I'd forget about the clocks going forward? Like I said, timing really is the most important part of what I do.
I can still remember the first time I died, like it was yesterday. Inspector Lindley Mysteries. I'd been found lying on some rocks. Was I pushed? You'd have to find it online. I hate giving stuff away. It was one of my proudest moments. Mum and Dad were so pleased. All those years at drama school had paid off. The money wasn't great, but it was a start. You can see my lifeless body in dozens of high-class productions. Casualty, Doctors, Vera, Scott and Bailey. I was in 3 episodes of Midsummer Murders. If you find yourself watching a British drama that involves a body on a slab in a morgue, 9 times out of 10, it's me. The other times it's Kathy Donald. She's lovely. But it's not easy, you know. You probably think it's the simplest job in the world, just lying there while other actors fiddle with your bits. But it's not. It's bloody hard. It takes great talent to do what I do. I'm very professional. I've no problem with nudity, and I can lie still for hours. I'm respected in our business. Everyone loves me because I'm so good at what I do. A lot of other actresses try it and they just moan about the whole experience. Oh God, it's too cold. God, it's so boring. Oh, everybody's staring at my boobs. Love it when I get those reactions. It always meant more work for me. Until last year. Last year was a big year for me. I decided I wanted to put my career up a notch. I decided everything was going to change. I was going to get out there. I was going to do the whole audition thing and get myself some quality acting work. There was a lot of doubters though. A lot of my friends thought I was crazy for changing the direction of my career. There's always a role for a corpse and I was the go-to girl. But I thought about it and I thought, no, I need a new challenge. I need to up my game. And finally, all of the hard work is paid off. I finally got the role of a lifetime. So lucky. I start next week. It's going to be brilliant. It's a big budget British movie. A-list stars. 12 scenes. Big scenes. Important scenes. Okay, it's a horror movie and I play zombie number 4, but at least I get to move in this one. No one does dead like me.
How the hell was I supposed to know she was married? Hey, she had more than enough opportunities to tip me off. Instead of sitting at the bar and fluttering her eyelashes and tossing her hair back, she should have been saying, "Stay away, I'm a married woman." But no, that just wasn't the case. "I'll have a Bacardi and Coke," she said. I should have listened to me dad. Never trust a woman who drinks rum. Melissa was the kind of woman who looked after herself. She took pride in her appearance. Body to die for. She should have stopped it right there and then, dead in its tracks before it got out of hand. She should have drank a Bacardi and Coke, chatted a while and then brushed me off like all the other women had done that night. But no, not a bloody chance. Women should wear stickers on the chest. It should be a legal requirement. Single, married, lesbian, lunatic. It'd save all the confusion and disappointments at parties, believe me. She should have told me in the taxi on the way back to the hotel. She should have said, "Listen, Mick, I am married, you know." At least we would have known where we stood. We could have had a nice, calm moment, took a few deep breaths, and decided, well, if what was potentially in the air was worth it. Suddenly, we're in my hotel room. I'm trying to open a bottle of expensive wine with one hand while trying to undo her bra with the other. And that's when it all changed for me and Melissa. You see, 1 minute it was pure lust, stripping off at speed and knocking furniture over. And the next minute, laughter. Real laughter. It's like we were meant to be together. We both knew it. Why didn't she tell me then? For God's sake, she could have told me then. 3 months this went on for. Not exactly the one-night stand we were thinking about. Every time I was in town, I'd call her, and believe me, I seemed to be in town an awful lot. Her husband was a big fella. Huge hands. The kind of hands that could crush a windpipe, snap her neck. I think his name was Larry. Well, I think he introduced himself as Larry. I don't know, maybe it was Barry. It's a bit difficult to catch a name when your ears are ringing, you're finding it difficult to breathe and you have blood in your eyes. Have you ever been kicked in the balls? And I mean really kicked in the balls? The kind of kick that Sees your testicles meet your sternum for the first time. But you know, the funny thing was, I didn't even try and verbally defend myself. I knew what was going on. I knew as soon as those huge hands grabbed me by the neck and yanked me into the BMW. Married. She's bloody married. How stupid was I? It all made sense now. Larry just kept hitting me. God knows how long that went on for. I mean, there comes a point when, well, you just don't feel the next punch. And I think I passed out at one point because I don't remember anything, and I think I lost control of my bladder at one point, which I'm not embarrassed about, like. But it was like some really bad gangster movie. A man like me wasn't supposed to go out like this. I mean, I sold designer fabrics, for Christ's sake. Apparently, this mate Crazy Dave had seen us a few weeks earlier in the museum. I don't know about you, but anyone who's got a mate called Crazy Dave was pretty dangerous in my eyes. I knew what I was dealing with now. You see, Larry liked the dogs. Larry liked doing, well, what Larry was doing to me. I mean, I don't think he was bothered about me having sex with his wife. He was more pissed off that I'd taken her to the gallery, the museum, the cinema. Wasn't Larry seeing that. "18 years Larry and Melissa had been married. He loved her to bits. I could tell by the way he said her name. He never thought she'd do this to him. I said to him, Larry, I didn't know she was married, but that just seemed to make things a little worse. And that's when the knife came out. One of those huge hunting knives. He'd bought it especially. It wasn't cheap. I said to him, Larry, mate, you've brought all this on yourself. I said, you've been lucky enough to find the perfect woman. She's gorgeous, funny, intelligent. I told him he'd taken his eye off the ball. It certainly wasn't his wife's fault, and definitely not mine. Then Larry started to well up. I swear to God, his eyes actually started filling up with tears. I'd actually got through to him. I'd made him see the error of his ways. He was going to go home and love his wife and appreciate it like she'd never been loved and appreciated before. Then he broke my arm. Larry had a couple of demands before he left me lying on the floor in total agony. The first demand was to never set foot in the city again. Hey, I don't know about you, but I tend to agree to demands like that when I'm in a situation like this. The second demand was a bit strange. I was never to think of Melissa again. How the hell would he know? Although he said it in such a way that I actually believed him. And then he broke my other arm. So, what did I learn from this wonderfully brief encounter? Well, I learned the hard way that women are just as bad as men when it comes to lies and deceit. And I learned the hard way what it's like to really fall in love and then lose it all in a flash. Sometimes, in life, your soulmate's on a completely different path. And it's a path that you can never get on. But one thing hit me above anything else from this whole situation. I learned never to treat a woman the way Larry treated his. Never take them for granted, and never take your eye off the ball. I'll never treat my wife like that. Did I mention I was married?
I always wanted to be a witch. My husband said I wasn't too far of it now. I read all the books, seen all the films. The whole thing just fascinated me. The thought of all those magical powers. I never wanted to be a nasty witch. Evil wasn't on my agenda. I just wanted to have enough skills to make a Sunday roast and do Derek's ironing for work. I soon found there to be a lot of stigma attached to witchcraft. A lot of fear and suspicion. Most folks just laughed. They thought you were going to fly from a broomstick or turn them into a frog. But then there were the haters, mostly men, who just wouldn't understand. Unfortunately, stigma can make you think twice, and I was beginning to be put off by the whole prejudice. But then I had a thought. Why not start my own coven? I could invite like-minded people to learn and work with me. I spoke to a few online, and they told me to get in contact with a Felicity Pandrick. Now, Felicity ran an organisation that helped witches start a coven. I called her my Wicca advisor. Meeting Felicity was the turning point in my life. She gave me the confidence to move forward with my dream. We are now 10 in number. Soon there were people contacting me, people from all over the place asking for details about my coven. People just like me. I had to be selective though. Couldn't have any old nutjob casting spells of my own where Derek was at work. We are a lovely group, 10 in number, and we can do much in the community and in our own personal lives. We meet once a month on the new moon. I supply the candles. They bring the herbs and crystals. We laugh, we sing, we dance. Sometimes naked. It's so much fun. We've become so close. I see us more like sisters now. It's amazing to think all these meetings were going on in every city, in every town. Who'd have thought that so much witchcraft was going on right under my nose? Oh, if only I'd known sooner. If only I'd started my coven sooner. I feel like I've missed out on so much fun. I'm making up for it now, though. Maybe you can start your own coven and see what the incredible power of witchcraft is capable of. But one word of advice, never call it a coven in public and never tell the ordinary person it's a meeting of witches. Tell them it's a coffee morning, a hairdresser's appointment, or a trip to the afternoon bingo. Witches will know exactly what you mean.
I see myself as a Robin Hood type figure. I steal from the rich and keep it for myself. My only rule is I never steal from those who can't afford it. I'm a strictly high end in the burglary stakes. If you earn less than 70k a year, you've no need to worry about me going through your belongings when you're away. I love my job. I can disable an alarm system in 8 seconds and be in and out of a property in 15 minutes. They call me the Flash. There's only one man better than me. Ricky Weston. I hate Ricky Weston. If it wasn't for him, I'd be retired by now. But you only retire at the top. And how can I possibly retire in the shadow of Ricky Weston? He always gets the best jobs. He has the best contact. And he likes it to be known that he is the best in the business. Not that I'm bitter or anything. Ricky and I had something in common. We'd never been caught, never done time. And we were looked up to for that. Admired. You only have to get caught once in our business, and you're on a slippery slope down. You lose the edge. That wasn't going to happen to me. I'm a great believer in fate. I believe things happen for a reason. But never in a million years did I expect to find myself doing jury service on a case involving Ricky. He made a mistake down south.
He got caught. You see, I follow technology. I'm always looking for a way to beat new systems. Ricky got careless. His slippery slope was beginning, and all I was going to do was give him a little nudge off the edge. I smiled at him from the dock. His lawyer said it was a classic case of mistaken identity. He was seen making his way back from the place, carrying a holdall. He said he was on his way to the gym. Ricky didn't know what a gym was. This was going to be a whole lot of fun. The odds were stacked against him. Ricky had been lax, and he'd pay the price. But he was one of us, so I couldn't let that happen. We retired, and I went into full Henry Fonda mode. I fought tooth and nail for Ricky. I spent days sowing the seeds of reasonable doubt on all 11 jurors. What if it wasn't him? What if Ricky Weston is an innocent man? Honour amongst thieves, they say. But it goes much deeper than that. I wasn't just doing this for Ricky. It could have been any one of us up there, and although Ricky and I were rivals, I like to think he would have done the same for me. But there was one other reason for doing it. I was top dog now. I was looking down on all the others, feeling fantastic. And there is one more reason. A villa in Spain sounds like a really nice idea.
I fell in love with a great man. I fell in love with a man people respected, people feared. He once ruled this city. He was once the king. I hung on his every action, his every word. I was in awe. It didn't start off like that. I wasn't the type of girl to follow the glory. Oh no, I was there from the beginning. I was the great woman behind the great man. He ruled with an iron fist. He didn't even have to do anything. People just knew. Reputation's a wonderful thing, don't you think? He was a completely different person outside of all this. A fabulous father, an amazing husband. All the corruption and violence was just a job. We didn't give it a second thought. But the years went by and new faces came in with new personalities and new ways of thinking. Larry could step back. We both could. Our world became more of a legitimate business, more relaxed. Larry became a slippers man, the type of guy you phoned if there was a problem, which wasn't often. The organisation was run like a dream. Each month it was running better. Each month there was less to do. That's when the boredom set in. For me. So, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I met Mick in a nightclub. He was in town on business. It wasn't Mick who gave me the thrill. He was just a pawn. It was the thrill of the whole situation. The thrill of getting caught. Oh yeah, I knew I'd get caught. Well, everybody knew Larry. Everybody loved Larry. I knew it was only a matter of time before one of his buddies spotted us in the cinema or the art gallery of the museum. That's why I chose them places. I wanted to get caught. Mick fell in love though. Didn't really want that. What I wanted was to get Larry back. The old Larry back. It was April Fool's Day when Larry confronted me over the affair. He was absolutely furious. I was enjoying every single minute of it. The veins on his temple were throbbing. The man I married was back. Everything came out. I told him how he was destroying me, how he was a shadow of his former self. He made me do what I did. I've seen Larry angry over the years, witnessed him do some terrible things. He has this twitch, It's like a catalyst for mayhem. Told him all about me. Oh yeah. I knew it would make matters worse, but that's what I wanted. I wanted worse. He demanded to know where he was, so when Larry demands, you simply give up the goods. Watching my husband revert back to his old self was truly the most rewarding part of all this. Totally inspirational. Watching Larry beat Mick down at the docks was like watching reruns of your favourite show. Did I feel sorry for Mick at all? Who the hell was Mick, hey?
I'd been in the boxing game a long time, more than most. I'd seen guys who started me and after me just fall away. Just wasn't for them. I'd followed my dad just like he followed his. Boxing was in the blood. It was my life and my biggest love. It's easy to put the sport down, it has its problems, but the good far outweighs the bad for me. It's like nothing else on earth. Oh, it can be brutal at times. Anyone that remembers Tyson destroying Spinks in 91 seconds would understand that. But it has class too. Skill and savagery rolled into one. Now, if you've never been a part of it, you'd have no idea. You'd never understand. It consumes you. Stepping into that ring every night just gives you the biggest buzz. Sometimes I'll just stand alone and take it all in. The smell of the canvas, the feel of the ropes. I'm known in the game as a journeyman. I follow the fights up and down the country. I've been everywhere, length and breadth. I'm one of the many thousands who never hit the big time. I was good, but there were better out there. And you know that never bothered me. I just weave my way around the business till I'm told I can't anymore. And that's far from happening. But as I get older, my training increases. You never know when that chance might still come knocking. You may just get lucky. Things happen that way, not often, but they do happen. So you stay on the edge, you stay focused. I got lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. The big time came calling and I answered in a heartbeat. The biggest fight of my career, the moment I'd waited my entire life for. All those tiny grotty venues in Glasgow, Birmingham and London had come to this. Wembley Arena, a World Championship night. Don't get it yourselves though. I wasn't the main event. I was down the card. Way down the card. But I was at the biggest boxing event of my entire life, and I felt like this was the end product of everything I'd worked for. Stepping into that ring was the biggest thrill. Oh, the crowd, the music, it was deafening like nothing I'd ever experienced. I can honestly tell you I was nervous. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Leon Spinks, they'd all been at this level. With all these people watching, millions more at home, I was at the pinnacle and I lapped it up every little second. When the fighters got to the ring, I got them together as fast as I could because I know how a boxer feels at this point. They just want to get on with it. I told them to touch gloves, make this a clean fight, and don't hit lower than the belt line. What? You didn't think I was a fighter, did you? God, no. Glass jaw, you see. And I'm way too pretty to be hit.
I knew she was having an affair. I wasn't bloody stupid. Melissa had stood behind me through thick and thin. We were a team. I couldn't have done what I did without Melissa. My rock. My world was easy. I took what I wanted and delivered violence to anybody who stood in my way. And there was a lot of violence. I once drove a red-hot poker through a guy's head. It doesn't get much more violent than that. I wasn't like one of these new wannabe gangsters who gets other people to do their dirty work for a bag of coke. I was on the floor and I danced the dance. If I wanted something done, I did it myself. I ruled and I was feared. But today it's all different. Today it's a business. A lot less fun, a lot less hands-on. I used to dish out terror Now I dish out dental plans and pension schemes. It's all about looking after your staff these days. Like I said, my part was easy. Melissa did all the hard work. She ran the home, brought up the kids, and bandaged my bloody knuckles all too often. I owe her everything. The last few years has been tough. My heart just isn't in it anymore. Maybe I'm getting too old for all this crap. I spend most of my days watching Jenny McKyle and shouting at the telly. I could tell by the way Melissa looked at me that she was on her way out. You see, Melissa loved what we were. She loved what we did. The lifestyle, the parties. Most of all, she loved the celebrity of it. But that had gone. I'd gone. I just didn't know it. She wanted the old laddie back, but I was in no mood to make that happen. So she found that excitement in other places and in other ways. Now she was happy. I could see that. I know it sounds really strange, but as long as Melissa was happy, then that was fine with me. But then people started to talk. People started to pass comments. They were laughing behind my back. Nobody laughs behind my back. I didn't mind her doing what she was doing. That didn't piss me off at all. What's pissed me off was a total lack of respect that she showed. You play around, you do it properly. You do it with decorum. That's pissed me off. She was seen all around town with this bloke. It's like she wanted to get caught. So I sent a few friends around to quietly remove him from the scene. Nothing old school, no pokers, just a word in the ear. I mean, come on. What was this poor guy to know? It's not as if she would have told him. She wasn't that stupid. So that was that. For a while, at least. But then it happened again. A different guy, the same scenario. The woman was on a stupidity mission. Next time, it was a word in the ear and a nasty beating. My boys were all too happy to be let off their leashes. But it still didn't stop her. Got to the point where everyone was talking. Everybody was laughing. So that's when I stepped in myself. I had to show people that was no pushover. But this guy was different. This guy thought he was funny. He took the beatings, but he was laughing at me. I knew it. Told me I'd taken my eye off the ball with Melissa. You think I didn't know that? He talked too much. Snapped both his arms. It's a shame he just can't kill somebody anymore. God, I miss the old days. You've got to be so careful now. But he did make me think. Melissa wanted something that I could no longer give her. Bringing back the old laddie was good for the briefest of moments, but it brought back all the memories. I didn't want that. I didn't want to go back. And I didn't like people laughing behind my back. So I had a decision to make. The biggest decision of my entire life. Friday I go to Spain, play a bit of golf and see Maria. Maria has always taken me away. It's like a different world with her. When I get back, Melissa would have had her accident and everything will be back to normal. Looking forward to a good old-fashioned funeral. Catch up with old mates and talk about the good times. You see, I no longer have to be on the floor dancing the dance. Nowadays, I'm a different man. Nowadays, I can get other people to do my dirty work for a bag of coke. It's a new me.
I've been flashed 13 times over the years. A lot of naked flesh has passed across these eyes. At first, I was like most women who've experienced this. I was shocked. I was disgusted. I was horrified. But after 4 or 5 incidents, you kind of start getting used to it. You start to look deeper into the issue of why somebody would want to display themselves to a complete stranger. I became obsessed with the whole thing. At first, I wanted to write a book on the subject. I wanted to deal with the taboos and explore the myths. I even interviewed many men about why they did what they did and what they got out of it. Excitement seemed to be the link between them all. See, flashing isn't a spur of the moment thing. It's planned. It's worked out. It needs timing and it needs skill. The modern day flasher takes great pride in what he does. A lot of thought goes into choosing the victim, the clothing, the location. The weather is also an issue. You do not want to get caught in an icy blast. See, a badly dressed flasher can become the laughingstock straight from the get-go. You do not want that. Why take pride in something you're about to show off when laughter can destroy it? Laughter can bring you down. So I became a kind of expert on the subject. I knew all the ins and outs. But to truly get into the mind and the workings of a flasher, I needed to become one. I must admit, I was nervous as hell. I bought a whole new outfit, a double-breasted, belted trench coat with single cuff straps and a button-down flap, quilted for added warmth and comfort, lined with winter tarn. Do it in style, I say. I must have practiced for hours in front of the mirror. See, you can have the best show on earth, but if you don't present it well, it can all fall apart. I wasn't going to fall apart. I chose a warm night in June. I also chose a rather handsome older gentleman, just getting off a bus. I raced around the block just to get ahead of him. My heart was pounding. I was so excited. I waited on that corner like a trained marksman. And then, when the time was right, I jumped out and I showed him what I had. His funeral was a lovely affair. It was so nice to see so many people turn up and pay their respects. I just stood at the back and smiled at myself. If you're going to be a flasher, then you couldn't possibly wish for a better start. I try and do it once a month now. Different ends of the country, never the same place twice. Keep it fresh, keep it exciting. Maybe we'll bump into each other one day. That'd be fun. But until then, spoil sport!
Maybe you'd like to tell me your story.
I'll take this.
Shine.